News flames shoot into the air as a house goes up in a fierce blaze at Killaban Bay. Former Night star Jared Mullen pleads guilty to supplying cocaine, and the change is set to save ratepayers millions at Summerhill Tip. That's next.
Our Super Christmas Challenge. Coles, Woolies, Aldi. The Budget Test. Feeding a family of 4 plus home decorations. All for under $200.
A big spread for under $120.
So all of this on the table is all up to $150. Let's dig in.
A current affair tonight.
The Toyota 2019 plate clearance is on, with fantastic deals you won't want to miss.
Time for an upgrade?
Yep. There's a Kluger here with my name on it.
Make any excuse to get Toyota plate clearance value, like Kluger 2-wheel drive GX Auto from $41,990 drive away. Search Toyota value. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
The festive season has arrived at Hunter Valley Gardens. The Christmas light spectacular returns, and it's bigger and more breathtaking than ever. Discover the magic at Hunter Valley Gardens. Visit hvg.com.au.
The magic is back.
Everyone ready?
Frozen 2 is visually dazzling and downright beautiful. Aussie's about to fall in love, and Olaf is an absolute scene stealer. Disney's Frozen 2 in cinemas now.
We're powered by the leader in renewable energy, the mighty Snowy Hydro. Now that's real Aussie energy. Red Energy, 100% Australian electricity and gas.
At Singo's, you'll find everything you need when planning your Christmas feast. There's a great selection of festive meats, including Singo's hams, plus poultry, seafood, small goods, party foods, and your favourite condiments. Singo's, Broadmeadow, West Gosford, Erina and San Remo.
It's Carter Toyota's 3-day end-of-year price blitz. Over 300 quality used cars sacrificed. With 10, 15, even 20% off selected vehicles. Strictly 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Only at Carter Toyota.
You to come along for a fantastic family fun night at the Medowie Christmas Carnival, Ferndale Sports Complex, Friday the 6th of December. This year it's bigger and better than ever with special guest Miss Kim. Experience the 9D cinema, enjoy the carnival rides and grab yourself a show bag. Relax and enjoy the festive spirit and sing along to Christmas carols. Be entertained by some fantastic local talent, and of course don't miss out on our very special visit from Santa. The Medowie Christmas Carnival, Ferndale Sports Complex, Friday the 6th of December starting 4 p.m.
Thanks, Eddie. Coming up, former Knights player Jared Mullen admits to supplying cocaine. Israel Folau and Rugby Australia strike a deal. Why Jeff Fennick wants to donate his brain to science. And the airline with edible coffee cups. That's next.
Tonight, red alert as a major bushfire flares again on the Central Coast.
Counter-terrorism police swoop on a man accused of being a member of ISIL.
Former Knights star Jared Mullen admits to supplying cocaine.
And an alarming report card about the performance of Australian students.
This is NBN News with Natasha Beyersdorf and Paul Lobb.
Good evening. First tonight, it's been another horrendous afternoon of our firefighters, with dangerous blazes raging from Sydney to the north coast. The worst ones at this stage are in the Hunter and on the Central Coast. An emergency warning has just been declared for a fire at Patterson, with people in the area of Red Hill and Duns Creek being warned it's too late to leave. Further south, this property was filmed going up in flames in the last hour at Mount McLeod near Upper Mangrove. The 3 Mile fire is to blame there, while further west, the Gospers Mountain blaze is back at emergency level. Reporter Sarah Giuliano begins our coverage.
Bushfire smoke filling the sky. Late this afternoon, the already huge 3 Mile fire took on frightening new proportions, menacing several communities west of Gosford. An RFS chopper even capturing the frantic effort to save a home at Wiseman's Ferry. The latest nerve-wracking episode for firefighters and residents after the blaze hit emergency level overnight.
Yeah, it was about 2 o'clock when we went to sleep last night. Just watching fire brigade and that drive around, making sure things were safe, keeping an eye on it. It's a few k's away from us at the moment.
We had to, scramble a number of crews from everywhere to come into areas of Mangrove Mountain here and Pemberton Hill Road, where the fire was going to impact.
Earlier today, more than 100 RFS personnel and fire and rescue reinforcements were trying to plan how to tackle this monster on the ground as water-bombing aircraft worked to limit its spread. Preparations the priority for residents.
Just can't get me worried. You can see that many fire trucks and that coming through.
People have got to prepare their properties. They've got to have their bushfire survival plan ready and activated, because the time is here to activate them.
Sarah Giuliano, NBN News.
In addition to that emergency warning at Patterson, there are watch and act alerts in place for 4 blazes in the Hunter, including one sparked by a car crash near Pelham yesterday.
Waterbombing aircraft were hazy silhouettes against a crimson sky as darkness fell over Pelham last night. Firefighters working feverishly to stop the blaze reaching homes using every available resource. They eventually won the battle. The war, however, continues. Crews today drawing water from anywhere they could. Air support again played a crucial role. An Ericsson sky crane attacking the fire, burning in bush near Avery's Lane. The blaze was upgraded around midday from advice to watch and act. Police closing John Renshaw Drive. Gusty winds momentarily fanning the flames towards properties. Thick smoke blanketing the area, leaving residents on edge. The blaze has now torn through more than 200 hectares, feeding those fighting it a huge operation itself.
The fireys are very happy to see us when they come in. They've been out for 10, 12 hours at a time with no food and that. They come in, we feed them up.
Sam Burberry, NBN News.
NBN weatherman Gavin Morris joins us now. Gav, what's the forecast looking like for the fire grounds?
Well, tomorrow is going to be absolutely horrendous for southern New South Wales. Some very strong winds will be hitting the mountain areas, and right on the northern tip of that is going to be the Murrurundi Gap to Walcare area as those westerlies pick up speed. Now, images have been released by NASA, and it really reveals what is happening to our nation here. The photos you can see, the one on the left is what our landscape looked like a year ago at the same time, and obviously the one on the right is how it currently looks. Go back 9 years to the year 2010 and it's just an extraordinary landscape. 7,000 fires have been burning now since July. Over 2 million hectares. Area of Gondwana forests have burned. They have never burned before. We truly are entering brand new territory because conditions are going to get worse. We're entering a heat wave now. Temperatures will be consistently into the mid-30s right throughout inland New South Wales. Next week, temperatures will start to topple the 40-degree mark, and we've got strong winds on the way. And it's not over then. It looks like temperatures may then begin to exceed the 40-degree mark around the 15th to the 20th of December, with still no rain in sight. A closer look at all of your local details later in the bulletin.
Thanks, Gav. The spectre of a terror attack in Australia has again been raised. Tonight, a young man who lived with his family in Sydney is accused of preparing a knife attack and trying to recruit others to follow his cause.
Short Street, Riverwood, a well-kept apartment block, and the counter-terrorism team targets a would-be ISIS fighter in Sydney's backyard. He's wanted for allegedly preparing a terrorist act using knives.
Police search warrant! Open the door!
21-year-old Yusuf Yuanat lives with his parents. He's now facing life in jail.
They're nice people.
Father and son, you said?
Father.
wife, daughter, son.
It's alleged the man posted extremist material on social media and he downloaded documents on weapons and how to best use them.
We were talking about the use of knives and blunt instruments in terms of how to be effective in relation to a terrorist attack.
One of the charges he faces, preparing for and advocating terrorist attacks. Police say he hadn't picked out a specific target. Today's arrest of this 21-year-old Riverwood man was in part precipitated by the London Bridge terror attacks 5 days ago. Police here admitting they were concerned that there could be a copycat attack. 2 people stabbed to death, the attacker shot by police.
There's a terrorist act committed in another country that generates significant media attention. We're always concerned what impact that will have in people in Australia in terms of that radicalisation.
Police allege the 21-year-old also tried to radicalise 17 and 18-year-olds and get them to swear allegiance to ISIS. Mark Burrows, NBN News.
At one stage, he was the night's highest paid player. Now, former NRL star Jared Mullen has admitted to supplying cocaine.
The 32-year-old pleaded guilty in Newcastle local court this morning, completing a 3-year fall from grace.
He was once tipped to become the next Andrew Johns. Sounded on Jared Mullen's career in 2017 when he tested positive to a banned steroid and was suspended for 4 years. Then, in May this year, he was arrested and charged as part of investigations into an alleged hunter drug syndicate. Tight-lipped as he walked into Newcastle local court today, Mullen pleaded guilty to 1 count of supplying cocaine. 3 other charges were dropped, including supplying a trafficable quantity of the drug.
No, Mr Mullen has nothing to say. The sentence matter's coming up. There will be some subjective material tendered at court, and Mr Mullins is happy with the plea that he's entered in respect to the DPP and the way that the negotiations have taken place.
From here, the case moves to Wollongong, where Mullen lives. He's been granted bail and will face a sentencing hearing on February 26. Jacinta Lee, NBN News.
Israel Folau has made peace with his former employer, Rugby Australia, reaching a confidential settlement after 14 hours of negotiations. Folau was seeking $14 million in compensation after he was sacked following a controversial social media post. In a statement, Rugby Australia apologised to Folau and his wife Maria, with the couple saying they are extremely pleased.
With today's acknowledgement and apology by Rugby Australia, we have been vindicated and can now move on with our lives.
There's no word on the former Wallabies' future with the sport.
The chilling final message a Sydney murder victim sent to her mother was revealed today as her housemate admitted he did it. DNA evidence and clues left on the man's mobile phone helped police put him away and find the woman's body.
It's taken 18 months for Shuo Dong to admit he's guilty of murdering his housemate, Chi Yu. The 28-year-old victim had been messaging her mother on the night she disappeared. Her final text, "OMG, we're having a power outage. Something is not right. Only our household is having a power outage." Police arrested Shuo Dong after finding blood in the Campsie share house. Shuo Dong had only lived with Chi Yu here for 3 weeks and was due to move out the day after she went missing. When he was questioned about whether he murdered her, he told police he didn't know and that he'd been taking Chinese medicine for memory. The 20-year-old's mobile phone led officers to Ms. Yu's car and revealed he'd searched what are the penalties for murder in Australia and what are the differences between underage guilty plea to adult offenders. The mobile data was also crucial to the discovery of Ms. Yu's body in bushland in Sydney's north weeks after her parents flew here to appeal for help.
Both of us cannot sleep every night.
Their daughter's killer will be sentenced next year. Hannah Sinclair, NBN News.
Hunter Catholic teachers and support staff walked off the job this afternoon following a breakdown in negotiations with the Catholic Schools Office over an enterprise bargaining agreement.
Because there's a coverage clause in there that basically makes our EA null and void if they do any administrative change.
Staff say 30 employees have lost entitlements since the start of the year. Meanwhile, a stop work will also happen at public schools tomorrow morning, with teachers voting on a new pay and conditions.
A Lake Macquarie couple has lost everything in a house fire, the flames even damaging 2 neighbouring homes. The ferocity of the blaze has left a close-knit community in shock.
4 in the afternoon and a blaze is tearing through a Killaban Bay home. The flames so tall they could be seen from Coal Point.
Very, very intense fire.
20 years of memories quickly went up in smoke.
We just looked out the window yesterday and everything was fine, and back about 2 minutes later and there was flames about 2 metres tall off the top of the roof.
The fire leaving behind a charred timber frame and rubble. The owner of the house was too distressed to speak on camera today, but he did say it happened in an instant. He was in the backyard, he heard a loud bang, and then the house was up in flames.
Wonderful people, ideal neighbours, and it's tragic.
They're very close friends, so it's sad.
Flames spread to 2 neighbouring homes. Malcolm McHarg's property was damaged, but salvageable.
I heard my next door neighbour call out to my wife, who was asleep on her bed in the front room. I went out the back of the house onto the deck in response to the call, and what I saw was a ferocious wall of flame.
Crews were back on the scene this morning, closing down hotspots.
Seems to be just an accident. You look at the house now, I'm glad no one was in it.
Couldn't believe it could be so quick.
Jacinta Lee, NBN News.
It's a staggering figure. Novocastrians will spend $3 billion on waste over the next 30 years. But now, in an effort to save money and the environment, residents are being given the chance to dump and recycle certain items for free. And the savings don't stop there.
Out with the old, to begin anew. Household electronics is the fastest growing sector in the world's domestic waste stream, with 4,500 Eiffel Towers worth of e-waste generated in 2016 alone. Now Novocastrians have the opportunity to do their bit for the environment by recycling those unwanted items and selected others at the dump for free, provided they're sorted first.
We're hoping that people are going to start realising the value of the resources they have at home and putting them aside into separate piles and bring them out here where we can do more with them before they're contaminated with other materials.
Whether it's wood or plastics or metals or paint or e-waste, as long as it's separated, they can come and drop off any of these recyclables for free.
Since opening 3 months ago, the $6 million Summerhill Resource Recovery Centre has reduced the amount of waste going into landfill by more than 13%. Another one of Newcastle Council's green projects, converting this mound of landfill into a 14,500 panel solar farm.
It'll provide enough electricity, the equivalent to power 1,300 houses. We're going to be using that to offset a significant portion of the council's energy usage. So that's offsetting things like our streetlights, the energy used here at our facilities, public libraries.
This solar installation will save ratepayers $9 million over the next 25 years.
And as of 1 January, all of Council's operations will be sourced from renewable energy. And that's a remarkable outcome.
Madison Scott, NBN News.
New figures show while Maitland's property market dodged this year's price slump, Newcastle was hard hit. But according to the Urban Development Institute, there's good news for Hunter property owners. Sydney house prices are now growing again, and our region may follow suit.
The prospects are for quite robust growth over the next 12 months. Actually, that the Newcastle and Hunter region economy is performing better than the Sydney economy at the moment.
First home buyers will have a leg up from January 1 with a new government deposit scheme.
Still to come, a 300-ton crane crashes over at a construction site.
Imagine a place where some very
very busy people are getting everything ready for your Christmas. Crisp and crunchy, luscious, lovely and perfectly timed to be picked for Christmas by Woolworths.
It's Cardiff Kia and Cardiff Isuzu Utes combined 3-day end-of-year price blitz. Over 100 new Kia plus Isuzu D-Max and NUX models all sacrificed with the biggest savings of the year. Friday, Saturday, Sunday only at Cardiff Kia and Cardiff Isuzu Ute.
Hazelnut, creamy chocolate, crisp wafer and roasted hazelnut pieces. Unwrap magic with Ferrero Rocher.
For some real magic this Christmas, try new Coles finest luxury magical show-stopping chocolate melting pudding. Now just $13 each at Coles. Wishing you a magical Christmas.
I'd like a bar of chocolate, please.
No change.
Happy birthday, Mum.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
What every pro most in life is dishonesty.
How much do you think she's worth?
I'm going to take it all.
It's very peculiar, doing things you'd never imagine.
You don't know him!
Gloss black grille, 19-inch black alloy wheels, panoramic sunroof, and more. New Sorrento Black Edition from $48,990 drive away.
Get the power of Tyre Power's Summer Scorcher sale.
And get the power to buy 3 and get 1 free on a hot range of Toyo passenger car and SUV tyres.
Get the power.
Tyre Power. Get the power of Australia's biggest independent.
The Great Wall Steed Stampede is now on. Get a petrol dual cab or a diesel single cab with a free trade from only $19,990. $19,990 drive away with a huge 5-year warranty. But you better hurry. Great Wall. It's built to work. Yeehaw!
Is that a rock? Is it a pebble? Well, believe it or not, it's a stone. Did you know they crack over 1 million windscreens a year in Australia? And if one flew up and cracked yours, you'd be covered with no excess. If you had GIO Platinum car insurance, of course. Sometimes it's good to know the details you know with GIO.
A body found in the Central Australian outback is believed to be that of a hiker missing for 2 weeks. Claire Hockridge was travelling with her partner, Tamara McBeath Riley, and friend Fru Tan when the group became stranded almost 2 weeks ago. Her sisters today thanked those who tirelessly searched for the group.
We are all grieving and exhausted from the emotional roller coaster that we've ridden over the past 1.5 weeks.
Claire's travelling companions were rescued from separate locations in the past few days.
For the second time in 4 days, a crane has collapsed at a busy Sydney worksite.
This one, a 300-tonne beast, caused more than its fair share of dramas this morning when it toppled in the heart of Parramatta.
It didn't go down lightly. At 300 tonnes and with 24 wheels, the collapse could be heard through Parramatta.
All the time we just saw lollipop girls, the worker girls just ran in terror, just screaming.
It missed dozens of others, the operator managing to climb out of the crane's cab uninjured. The neighbouring pub copped a scraping from the machine's arm.
Workers were immediately evacuated from the site and sent home shortly after. Safe Work investigators have been here for the most part of today, trying to piece together what went so wrong.
On Sunday, an even bigger crane collapsed near Narellan. 2 terribly close calls.
Cars were backed up for more than 13 kilometres on the M1 near Warnervale on the Central Coast this afternoon, with a 2-truck crash causing chaos. All northbound lanes past Sparks Roads were closed for just over an hour, with drivers told to avoid the area while the clean-up took place.
It was the second last sitting day of the year, and it delivered the federal government an early Christmas present. The Prime Minister managed to rid himself of the Medivac bill. The law has haunted Scott Morrison since it passed in February, supposedly weakening borders, but more importantly, his power.
Here we go. In the true spirit of Christmas, Parliament is a place of give and take. In the Senate, it was Jackie Lambie who handed the Prime Minister his gift.
I am voting for the repeal of Medivac.
Laws that bring sick refugees from offshore detention to Australia for medical treatment, now scrapped.
To shut the door that Labor sought to prise open last year.
The key vote that killed Medivac was independent Jackie Lambie, who cut a deal with the government she won't reveal.
When I say I can't discuss it publicly due to national security concerns, I am being 100% honest to you.
There is no secret deal.
Who's lying? Who's lying, Minister Coleman?
And no further clarity on an offer from New Zealand willing to settle asylum seekers from Papua New Guinea and Nauru.
The only undertaking we've given is to implement our policies.
184 people have been transferred to Australia via Medivac since the law passed in February with the help of Labor, the Greens and Independents. But nobody has gone back. Some have been accused of using creative ways to exploit the law.
Self-inflicted, like palm oil into their bloody penises.
Scott Morrison saw Medivac as a personal affront that laws he didn't support passed a Parliament he was supposed to be in control of, and that's why the Prime Minister was determined to see them scrapped. But how he proposes to get the almost 600 people in detention out is still a secret. Chris O'Keefe, NBN News.
Our national education system scored an F today when ranked against the rest of the world. An international study shows our students are falling behind in reading and science, but critically in maths. They're now years behind the best performers overseas, with New South Wales seeing the biggest fall in results.
It's the worst result since testing began nearly 20 years ago.
We should feel quite disturbed about it. I have been saying this for the last 3 PISA cycles now, that the results are declining and we need to do something about it.
PISA is the Program for International Student Assessment. It tested hundreds of thousands of students in 79 countries, including thousands in Australian schools. While we've slipped in reading and scientific understanding, it's maths where Australia has its most embarrassing scorecard. Internationally, our students ranked at 29th, below New Zealand, Portugal, and only 2 points above the OECD average. Our kids performing 3.5 school years lower than top-ranking China.
People who leave Year 12 or at any stage of their schooling must have literacy and numeracy skills which are best in the world. I'm not happy with today's results at all.
As for reasons, one of the key ones seems to be a shortage of qualified specialist maths teachers, with many taking those maths classes now forced to teach outside of their subject area. But attracting appropriately qualified teachers made more difficult when the profession has been under attack and undervalued.
If you're able to be a maths teacher and you've got a choice between maths teaching and maybe medicine or engineering, it's not surprising that many of them take those other options.
And with such alarming results, a call for a simpler back-to-basics curriculum.
What these results show, when you look at a country like Estonia, which commits half the funding per student that we do, yet is performing above us, is that it's not all about money.
Eddie Meyer, NBN News.
Ahead in the news, Donald Trump already ruffling feathers at the NATO summit.
And the airline encouraging you to eat your coffee cup.
Sometimes, even the best tenants can cause damage to your investment property that standard building insurance may not cover. Terry Shear, Australia's leading landlord insurance specialist, can protect your property and rental income from just $1 a day. Have confidence that your investment property is in safe hands.
My property portfolio is protected by Terry Shear. I wouldn't trust anyone else.
Call Terry Shear or go online.
News.
Mom, I want drums for Christmas.
Don't worry, Mum. Muso's Corner has the answer. The Roland Silent Electronic V-Drum Kit from only $675. Merry Christmas.
Getting a better number plate just got easier. Now you can search by colour or style, sort to compare results, and then see it on a real car. This Christmas, ask for a better plate at myplates.com.au.
Domino's Everyday Value Pizzas are now back to $5. Your favourite value pizzas, all with fresh dough, sauce made from vine-ripened tomatoes, and stretchier, tastier mozzarella. Now back to $5 at Domino's.
The famous Hog's 18-hour slow-cooked prime rib steak, now served with seared Australian scallops, crispy curly fries and fresh salad. For a limited time, head to Hog's, Australia's steakhouse.
Everyone is talking about it. The amazing views. Delicious food. All wrapped up in a stunning seaside venue. Shoal Bay Country Club. Paradise on your doorstep.
If you need some boating, camping or some fishing gear, come on into BCF, the best prices are here.
It's a BCF in summer and we're going to help you do it right. Snap up this 3x3 gazebo and save $150. This Warra Premium armchair is now $49.99. Or this 10-person Goliath tent, save $270. Stop it.
Boating, camping, fishing is BCF and fun. BCF and fun. Hey!
The Vintage, an award-winning estate, is the pinnacle of lifestyle living in the heart of Hunter Valley wine country. Land from only $250,000 with established residences for sale. Call or go to thevintagerealestate.com.au.
Shaver Shop Cyber Deal Sale. Save up to 90%. Oral-B Kids gift sets only $28.75. Save 60% on this prawn shaver, only $99. Save 55% on Philips IPO with cashback, only $249. Shaver Shop Cyber Deal Sale. Shop now.
You can take the fun to a whole new level this Christmas.
Trestle table, only $59. Clamshell sandpit, just $12.50.
But you find a competitor's lower price on the same stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%. Lowest prices are just the beginning, that's our policy.
Donald Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron have had a spectacular clash at the NATO summit in London. A short time later, it was the Queen playing peacemaker as she brought together some of the most powerful people in the world.
World leaders patiently wait their turn to greet the Queen. When Donald Trump arrives back at Buckingham Palace, breaking protocol. The US President and his wife Melania chat with Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles and Camilla when it appears he's told to keep moving with a swift royal gesture. While the leaders of Canada, France and the UK appear to poke fun at Trump. The reception marking 70 years of the NATO alliance. While the evening was a chance for some to step out of the spotlight, the leader of the free world soaked it in. Having come from a couple's date with Charles and Camilla at Clarence House. Inside the palace, all 29 members of the military alliance seem to be one big happy family, despite tensions bubbling beneath the surface, while outside they boiled over as protesters tried to break down a police barrier.
And this is the very reason Boris Johnson is trying to distance himself from the US President. Hundreds of angry anti-Trump protesters. It's not a good look 9 days out from the general election.
Earlier in the day, Mr. Trump hitting the two-day summit like a freight train, skewering French President Emmanuel Macron for calling NATO brain dead.
You just can't go around making statements like that about NATO. It's very disrespectful.
It was followed by a frosty interaction between the two.
Would you like some nice ISIS fighters? Yeah, I can give them to you. You can take everyone you want. Let's be serious.
In London, Sophie Walsh, NBN News.
And while the US President is overseas, Democrats have released a bombshell report in the impeachment hearings. The 300-page document contends Mr. Trump abused the power of his office in his dealings with Ukraine, then tried to cover it up.
This is about whether the American people have a right to expect that the President of the United States is going to act in their interests, with their security in mind, and not for some illicit personal or political reason.
Mr. Trump responded by calling Adam Schiff a deranged human being.
their trust.
Tesla chief Elon Musk has been put on the witness stand in the US, where a British diver is suing him for calling him a pedophile. The dispute started last year during an attempt to rescue the Thai schoolboys who were stranded inside a flooded cave system.
He dreams of going to Mars, but today Elon Musk took a detour to an LA court. Elon, do you have any comment? On the stand, he explained why he called British cave diver Vernon Unsworth a pedo guy on Twitter. The trigger, an interview Unsworth gave after the Tesla chief offered to help rescue 12 boys and their coach with a mini sub of his design.
And stick his submarine where it hurts. He wouldn't have made the first 50 metres into the cave from the dive start point. Just a PR stunt.
Musk today conceded he had no idea who Unsworth was, telling the court, "I thought he was just some random creepy guy the media was interviewing."
On what basis did you make that assertion?
And that he didn't mean for the comment to be taken literally.
Vernon Unsworth is only suing Elon Musk for $75,000, but there is much more at stake. Whoever loses the case may have to pay both sides' legal costs, which will be substantially more.
The court heard Musk lost $52,000 when a private investigator he hired to look into Unsworth turned out to be a con man. In Los Angeles, Tim Arvia, NBN News.
Now to some pictures just into the newsroom showing the response to the fire burning at emergency level at Patterson. The Ericsson Sky Crane is attacking the blaze as it burns in a southwesterly direction towards rural properties. Residents in the Red Hill and Duns Creek areas are being told it's too late to leave and to seek shelter.
Australia's economic growth remains undeniably weak. Car sales continue to tumble and the local share market has lost $75 billion in just 2 sessions. Business reporter Chris Kohler has the details.
Australia's record-breaking 29-year run of economic expansion may be continuing, but it's down to a trickle. The economy grew at just 0.4% in the third quarter, which is below expectations, with annual growth landing at 1.7%. Now, in other news today, the 12 months to November saw a little over 1.6 million new cars sold, a drop of 8.8% from a year ago. Now, that's enough to be the biggest annual decline in a decade. And finally, Australian share investors are licking their wounds today after a second straight day of heavy selling, with global investors spooked by more tough talk on trade from Donald Trump.
Taking a closer look at the numbers now, and the All Ords closed more than 100 points lower. Afterpay went backwards in a big way, while the major banks finished lower. Oo Media Limited was the day's best performer, adding close to 24%. To commodities, and both gold and oil are trading higher, while one Australian dollar is buying just over 68 US cents.
They're cups that are twice as nice, helping to reduce waste and serving as an extra snack after a coffee. Air New Zealand has begun trialling edible coffee cups. To customers in the air and on the ground, the vanilla-flavoured, leak-proof treats also double as a dessert bowl. So far, the cups have been a big hit with customers. Making it big overseas might remain a goal for a lot of actors, but there's something special about being recognised for your achievements closer to home. Sam Neill has done both, and after 5 decades in the film industry, he's receiving Australia's highest screen honour at tonight's ACTA Awards.
Homegrown Hollywood stepping out in Sydney, the night we give a nod to the very best in Aussie film and TV.
They're moving inherent.
Sam Neill has been on our screens since the 70s. Tonight, he receives the country's highest accolade, the Longford Lyell Award.
Oh, it means everything, really, to be recognised by, one's peers and my contemporaries.
Tasmanian revenge thriller The Nightingale has 15 nominations, including Best Film, alongside Ride Like a Girl, inspired by Melbourne Cup winner Michelle Payne and her brother Stevie.
Do you want to be in any more movies?
No, I hope so.
Well, you did a very good job.
Thank you. Jackie Weaver is nominated for television drama Bloom on Stan.
I'm kind of shocked.
And I guess tonight's a night where you can sort of give each other a pat on the back and also be recognised by, the big wigs who might hire you for something else.
That's a very good point.
And Nine's Hamish Blake for a big show about little old Lego. Speaking of little...
No one needs to hand down and see
Actors used to be known as the Australian Film Awards, but it's not just about the movies. TV and streaming services means there's not only plenty for us to watch, but plenty of competition here too.
So we're here to celebrate us as an industry and be proud of that.
The awards are dished out tonight. Lizzie Pearl, NBN News. Time for sport now with Mitchell Hughes.
And Mitch, New Zealand's ranked ahead of us in Test cricket.
They certainly are, but David Warner is determined to change that. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Dash. After the break, the big-hitting batsman's plan to take down the Kiwis. And does Latrell Mitchell really want to leave the Roosters?
Tonight, I'll be eating pesto gnocchi and garlic bread. Hey, Kim, what are you going to have?
Tonight, I'll be eating a chicken schnitty with chips and chicken salt.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
Kim, I don't mean to be rude, but it's actually pronounced nice.
Nice?
Nice.
Nice.
N-I-C-E, nice.
I literally have no idea what you're saying.
It's a Queen's English.
Unlike ordinary toothpaste, Colgate Total's breakthrough formula actively fights bacteria for 12 hours, keeping your whole mouth healthy. Colgate Total. Be totally ready for life.
It's Carter Toyota's 3-day end-of-year price blitz. Over 300 quality used cars sacrificed with 10, 15, even 20% off selected vehicles. Strictly 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Only at Carter Toyota.
Your spare pair. Your glare pair. Left them on a chair pair. Your new style of hair pair. Your ex's over there pair. When they're beyond repair pair. Your look and debonair pair. They're flying through the air pair. You can't find them anywhere pair. We could all use a second pair. At Specsavers, get 2 designer pairs, no gap, from the $199 single vision range when you're with selected health funds.
Make it a year to remember with a deal you'll never forget. Receive 7 years warranty plus 2 years free servicing on Eclipse Cross and stylish new ASX. Mitsubishi end-of-year sale. The time of your life starts now.
Tony Scaramali's love of strawberries began when he first helped his parents on their small family farm. Today, the Scaramali's grow 4 million strawberry plants, and every one of their strawberries delivered fresh to Coles is still hand-picked and hand-packed. Don't you just love beautiful, blushing Coles fresh strawberries? Wow. So to the Scaramali family, from all your friends at Coles, thank you, and wishing you a magical Christmas.
It's Gloucester's biggest ever car sale, with over $60 million worth of stock priced to clear. Save big on Newcastle's biggest range of new, used and demos across 7 big brands. This Friday, Saturday, Sunday, only at Tudor Street, Hamilton.
Dear Santa, this year I wish for something special for my dog Quiz. Wow! And for me and Dad to see the Aussies win. And for Mum and Nan to be treated like queens. Granddad!
Only Foxtel brings you all the magic of Christmas all in one place. Don't miss Foxtel's big Christmas sale.
Pakistan were easy beats. Now it's time for Australia's real challenge in the summer of cricket. New Zealand is ranked ahead of the Aussies as the world's second best test team, but David Warner says he knows the key to beating the Kiwis.
For so long, the Black Caps were in the shadow of the baggy greens. Now, New Zealand's cricketers are no longer intimidated by their trans-Tasman rivals.
Test 100, number 21 for Kane Williamson.
David Warner has singled out Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor as the key men Australia must shut down. Both are coming off centuries in a series win over England.
Ross just seems to get better and better. He's a fantastic player. And yeah, they've got great batting up the top of the order.
Warner has finally figured out what went wrong on his disastrous Ashes tour, a lack of aggression.
For me over there personally, I should have backed myself a little bit more. I probably changed my guard probably too early. We saw out here in Australia, I kept that same guard and just backed myself.
Warner copped heat for surpassing
surpassing Don Bradman in his mammoth innings of 335 in Adelaide, today there was love from Brian Lara, who wanted the opener to go even further and have a shot at his world record of 400.
I think records are meant to be broken, and it would have been lovely to see him do it. He's a T20 player as well, so if you say, hey, you got 8-10 overs, go for it.
Luke Dufficy, NBN News.
International team captain Ernie Els has issued a warning to US captain Tiger Woods as golf's President's Cup returns to our shores. Els says his young side is gunning for the former world #1, who believes his players won't fear.
Ernie Els is known as a slow-swinging, slow-walking, mellow kind of guy, but he's also quick with the tongue, sharp in the mind, and right now heaping pressure on Tiger Woods ahead of next week's President's Cup.
The youngsters look up at him, but they definitely want to have a piece of him. So we'll see.
Els hasn't decided which players he'll throw at Woods, but he believes the Masters champion is no longer feared like he used to be.
I don't think it's the same kind of aura like in the past. I think it's a different kind of aura. It's more of like he's a celebrity kind of an aura.
It'd be great to stick it to Tiger and the entire American team.
Scott headlines the field at the Australian Open beginning tomorrow in Sydney, although he concedes he's got one eye and half his mind on Royal Melbourne.
Part of this week is kind of preparing myself mentally and physically for what's coming next week.
Another Masters champion, Sergio Garcia, is in town and has been getting to know Sydney.
Which beach did you enjoy more, Bondi or Manly?
Different. I think Bondi was a little bit more, a little bit looser, a little bit more fun, you may say. Manly was a little bit more relaxed.
Rob Canning, NBN News.
The off-season circus surrounding Latrell Mitchell took a new twist today thanks to a social media post from the Roosters star. With his future still uncertain, Roosters teammates concede he would be a big loss.
A cryptic Instagram post has many wondering whether Latrell Mitchell wants to stay at the Roosters. The grand final winning photo posted along with the caption, "Take me back," and his Roosters teammates say he's very welcome.
He's contracted us. I need the big fella beside me.
But that may be difficult. The Roosters have recently upgraded the contracts of Jared Hargraves and Siwa Takiaho, so it would take some salary cap magic to retain the Australian and Origin star. Teammates believe it's a huge loss.
What he's done for our club, and as Robbo said, he's produced for us since he's come into first grade, so we all love him.
The Tigers were spreading some Christmas cheer at Liverpool Hospital today, and they may receive a gift of their own. The club has withdrawn its offer for Latrell, but it wouldn't take much for negotiations to be rebooted.
He's a great player. He's won 2 premierships, so I know. I guess for here at the Tigers, we're looking to add to our squad any quality players that are on the market, and I guess he's a quality player and he's on the market, so I don't see why the club wouldn't be looking at him.
And Mbai believes Mitchell could easily make the transition from centre to fullback.
He's a quality athlete. There's no real certain build for certain positions. He's got all the attributes as a quality rugby league player, and he's proven that over the last few years. Big, quick, he's powerful, so I'm sure he'll make fullback his own.
Danica Mason, NBN News.
After the break, the Socceroos facing a titanic task in Argentina.
Over the last few months, you may have seen this commercial, but in light of the recent bushfires that have devastated the east coast of Australia, we have a new message to share. NRMA Insurance is committed to helping our customers through this period, but our wildlife is also in desperate need of help. The koala, in particular. Which is why we have partnered with Port Macquarie Koala Hospital to help koalas today and into the future. During this difficult time, remember to look after yourselves, your family, friends and neighbors, as well as our most vulnerable animals.
in new Kia stock must be cleared. Over 50 demonstrators, including Rio, Cerato and Sportage, will clear below invoice cost, plus massive savings across the Stinger and Cerrito range with 3 years free servicing. And the all-new Kia Seltos has arrived and ready to test drive. Now at your big 3 Kia mega sites, Cardiff, Maitland and Newcastle Kia.
For some real magic for your Christmas, try Coles' new Easy Carb Semi-Boneless Crackling Ham.
What's new and delicious? Crackling ham.
Delicious smoked ham inside, crunchy crackling outside. Voted Product of the Year, just $20 a kilo. And for dessert, try Coles' amazing gingerbread cones. 4 cones for just $5. Crackling ham, gingerbread cones. All delicious and all exclusive to Coles. Wishing you a magical Christmas.
Right now, McDonald Jones is offering a whopping $45,000 cash off 2-story and single-story homes. That's a cash discount straight back in your pocket. But hurry, this offer ends this Sunday.
It's Cardiff Toyota's 3-day end-of-year price blitz. Over 150 new Toyotas sacrificed. Demos and run-up models liquidated. A new Toyota price blitz not to be missed. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, only at Cardiff Toyota.
Agua, Wasser, Misu, or water to most of us in Australia. Did you know that a dripping tap can waste up to 750 litres of it a month? And if a certain uncontrollable leak made your home unlivable, you'd be covered for up to 24 months temporary accommodation while yours is being repaired. If you had GIO Platinum Home Insurance, of course. Sometimes it's good to know the details. You know with GIO.
The Socceroos waged fierce battles with South American opponents in the 90s and early 2000s. In June next year, they'll take on the likes of Uruguay and Lionel Messi's Argentina after being drawn in the South Zone for the Copa America.
Our boys haven't really had the experience of playing in South America, this group of players, so to be able to go across to South America and play in those great stadiums with that great environment, it's going to be a buzz.
Based in Argentina, the Socceroos will also face Bolivia, Chile and Paraguay in the group stage. Before then, Australia has 4 vital qualifiers for the 2022 World Cup. Manchester City has narrowed the gap to Premier League frontrunners Liverpool with a 4-1 demolition of Burnley. A record field is predicted for this weekend's State Speedway solo titles in the Hunter Valley. There's a long list of decorated riders rolling up, including former Australian champion and Pelham local Rowan Tungate.
About to hit the gym after another busy European Speedway season.
You bike fit because you do so many meetings, but to be fit to travel and race and sometimes no sleep, you have to be pretty fit with that and in good condition.
With a schedule like Rowan Tungate's, it's easy to see why fitness is so important.
England, Poland, Sweden, a bit of Denmark, Germany. Yeah, we do like 70 to 80 meetings a year and sometimes fly 4 times a week, so it's a pretty hectic season.
This Saturday night, he'll be a draw card at his home track, Curry Speedway, for the New South Wales Solo Championship.
I have 3 meetings coming up there in a row, so it's kind of, to be consistent at them 3 is pretty hard work, and I've got to be on my game to be successful in all 3 of them.
He'll then find time for more Australian meetings before heading back overseas in March to do it all again.
Still got a few months to train and do some meetings and enjoy the sun.
Kate Haberfield, NBN News.
Returning to cricket, and the draw for the Newcastle T20 Summer Bash was conducted today at Mayfield. The competition has expanded to include 2 new teams, West Maitland Flood and East Maitland Magic.
It's an amazing opportunity for particularly the youngsters to branch out and be exposed to some of the Newcastle clubs, and it could be a stepping stone for particularly them to move on to greater honours in cricket.
The first round begins on January 14. Tash, that's our look at sport.
Thanks very much. He's been a shopkeeper, an active RSL member, a Merryweather mackerel, and served our country bravely during World War II. Now, next Anzac Day, 102-year-old Alf Carpenter's life story will be centre stage. Alf Carpenter is a Newcastle legend, and these high school pupils have been tasked with turning his life story into a play.
It was a big honour, but also a big responsibility.
He's a very interesting, complex and diverse human being who's lived 10 lives, not just one. Artistic director Michelle Gosper is helping the drama and history students curate the story for the combined schools Anzac event in April.
I'm absolutely honoured.
It will follow his childhood.
Growing up in Wagga Wagga, I went to South Wagga Public School.
His time serving his country. He fought in just about every major theatre of war in World War II. His progressive work in thought transfer and hypnotism, plus his life as an Overcastrian on the beach and in the community.
He's come here as a veteran, but to Alf there's so much more than his participation in war. You know, he's a hypnotist, a shopkeeper, a businessman.
I give them a little poem in there, and I still believe there'll always be one name on the scroll of fame. That's ANZAC.
The school service is designed to keep the Anzac spirit alive. Not to stereotype veterans, not to see them as just old people, but to recognise that these people have led extraordinary lives. As for the part of his life Alf most wanted to see on stage,
The most wonderful thing in my life was my marriage.
Georgia Marr, NBN News.
Good on you, Alf. The weather's next.
Gifts for Christmas at warehouse prices.
Impact driver kit, only $99. Grid Connect security camera, just $69.
Where you find a competitor's lower price on the same stock item, will beat it by 10%. Lowest prices are just beginning, that's our policy.
Autobarn's Mega Christmas sale will have you ready to get away for less. Stack more with 15% off Rhino Rack roof racks. And tune in with Sony's CarPlay AV receiver, just $3.99, save $100. More getaways in store. Autobarn's Mega Christmas sale is on now.
Shut up and take my money.
Terry Shear, Australia's leading landlord insurance specialist, can protect your property and rental income from just $1 a day.
As a first-time investor, Terry Shear provides the security I need.
Call Terry Shear or go online.
The Burton Family Toyota Massive Plate Clearance is on now.
All Toyota stock must clear with massive deals across the range.
Don't sign anything till you see the amazing deals on offer.
They won't be beaten on price.
On now at Maitland and Port Stephens Toyota.
Hi, Michael and Carleen here with some tips on sprucing up your home for Christmas.
Beautiful new rugs will make the world of difference to your living spaces. And adding some comfy Deco rug cushions will give your home that finishing touch and make it Christmas ready for the festivities.
Hey, Colleen, I reckon that this Ford Mustang GT would add that finishing touch to the driveway.
Shop at Deco Rug and enter the draw. This beautiful Ford Mustang GT could be yours in time for Christmas.
At Creative Childcare, we use creative play to educate, ensuring your little ones are ready for big school whilst developing many life skills along the way. Family operated and located in Katara, Hamilton and Hunter Street. Call 1300 002 929.
Hey, Mr. Jones.
Find great gifts for everyone this Christmas with low prices and free delivery on millions of items. Amazon.com.au. Easy as.
With Australian tune suspension, the Hyundai Tucson is made for it. Picked for Christmas by Woolworths. Delicious Cadbury favourites, 570 grams. Now $10 each. Save $10. That's half price. Pick some up for Christmas at Woolworths today.
At APR, we're all about possibilities. So however you live, our flexible home insurance lets you pay by the month at no extra cost. APR. Get set, go. Call 13 50 50.
Let's get the very latest on the weather conditions now with Gav.
Thank you, Tash. Well, it looks like we have another horrendous day on the way, particularly for southern New South Wales. The strong winds are going to whistle in and they are going to affect the local region. It just seems every single Weather Shots photo has some form of bushfire smoke in it, and here is another. It's been another extraordinary 24-hour period of no rain across the nation. The satellite image is extraordinary, hard to see here, but it just appears from space that just about the entire Great Dividing Range is on fire at the moment, with just masses of smoke billowing out over the Tasman. You can see it's very, very clear. This is truly just uncharted territory. We've just gone never anything like this before into this part of summer. Early summer after a winter that we've just experienced with virtually no rain whatsoever, and skies like this. No monsoon build-up across the tropical north. A few storms here and there, but there's virtually nothing still right across Indonesia as well, and it looks like there is just nothing to come, and that's how it's going to remain, with blocking highs moving into the Bight one after the other, a monsoon trough that has no moisture to feed off, fronts clipping the southeast, maintaining the westerly winds. This is more how it's supposed to look during the winter time, but here it is now moving into summer. No wet season in the north, and the westerlies are still blowing, and they're going to continue. Temperatures soaring, so many of our major cities up and over 30 degrees, plenty of them including Perth, but it's cool, it's windy, it's wet throughout Tasmania. Temperatures today cracking the 30-degree mark. It was very warm along the coast, and then a late sea breeze got in throughout this afternoon. The humidity count, this is another major factor in why we're just continually seeing bushfires flare up one after the other. As I said earlier on, up to 7,000 bushfires since July now, and over 2 million hectares have burned, and it's just the beginning. A heat wave is going to start. For tomorrow, it will be affecting us due to the westerly winds that are going to be strong, particularly throughout the Upper Hunt and the mountain areas, and the areas currently under siege of bushfires. No rain whatsoever, and there's none in sight. It is going to be hot. It's going to be another night with that heavy bushfire smoke as those fires are flaring up throughout the valley, the inland areas, and being pushed towards the coast. We're looking at the mid-30s easily for everyone. We'll have raised dust as well, expecting more dust storms to make their way right across the state, reaching the Hunter, mixing in with all of that bushfire smoke as well. The swell is going to hold 2 metres with the westerly winds. Another day for surfers. Tomorrow morning there's a low tide 9:40, working at the height of 3:45, sun to rise 5:36 and down at 10 to 8. This is going to continue. There's a change for coastal areas, and the valley will cool slightly, but west of the divide temperatures are going to remain stuck in the mid to high 30s, and then they'll see 40s unfold. We've got 40s on the way. You can see that change having little impact for the Upper Hunter, as this heat wave will affect the upper part of the valley. The central coast, a temperature dip also on the way across the weekend. Surfers, it's been an amazing week. As I said, it's been winter-like weather, and it's winter-like surf. Westerlies are blowing, and there's swell, and there's another day of it again throughout tomorrow. The banks and the swell hasn't been quite lining up. It can be a little bit frustrating out there, that's for sure, but if you're in the right place at the right time, you can certainly get a nice wave. But that smoke will be affecting everyone again throughout tomorrow. Please take care. More total fire bans in place.
Thank you, Gav. Before we go, let's take another look at the bushfires burning across the Hunter and Central Coast. They are currently at emergency level, including Martins Creek Road fire near Patterson, while the 3-mile blaze west of Gosford remains at watch and act after claiming at least one home late this afternoon. The Pebble Main fire near Cessnock is also listed at watch and act, as are 2 fires near Wollombi. For the most up-to-date information, visit the RFS website.
And that is our bulletin for this evening.
The Today Show will have the latest headlines from 5:30 a.m.
Thanks for your company from all of us here.
Good night.